Welcome to Arsenalen, the Swedish Tank Museum. Today everyone is talking about Leopard 2, and since I've been using this tank for some time, I will give you my experience from this tank. I started off as a tank commander at Leopard 2 in 1989 when we did the first trials in Sweden, and we did it over 1 year, and later in 94 we did the training in Germany for educating the Swedish officers and then the conscripts to use this tank when we started off with Leopard 2 and the Swedish Army in 95. And since then we have had Leopard 2, and from my experience it's one of the best tanks in the world. The vehicle behind me is not one of the vehicles that we use today. This is a prototype that was built before the series production began in 1979. But I will talk about Leopard 2 using this as an example, because we don't have a genuine tank in the museum at the moment. The Leopard 2 started production in 1979, and since then almost 4,000 vehicles has been built. Almost all countries in Europe use them today, and Sweden is one of them. And when we did the trials in Sweden in 1989, we didn't have that much knowledge about how they performed, and during that year we did a lot of tests from the southern part of Sweden up to above the Arctic Circle, and during that year we did things that no one thought would be possible to do with a tank. So it was a great tank to test, and it was also an eye-opener for a lot of people. Oh my God, what a modern tank actually can do, since we had the Centurions and yes tanks before that. And we realized that a modern tank is something that we really need to have. The weight of the tank is about 55 to 62 tons, depending on what kind of version you have. The first we started off with was 55-ton tanks, and the ones we use today, they are 62-ton tanks with a lot more protection on the outside that makes it heavier. But it's almost the same underneath. In the turret there is a 12-centimeter smoothbore gun, a 3-man crew with a commander, the gunner and the loader. So this is a manual loaded gun with a driver at the front, sitting there with his steering wheel and the automatic gearbox. This vehicle is very easy to handle, it's very easy to drive, and the performance is absolute fantastic. You have a very powerful engine, a top speed of 72 kilometers an hour, and the acceleration is quite good compared to a lot of other vehicles I've driven. And with the ground pressure that it's not that high, you can keep the speed over soft ground, and even if there's soft ground that you normally with a tank would get stuck, this tank could keep the speed. And we went across a lot of this soft ground swamps that had been impossible to cross with any other tank at the time. So we managed to do things with this tank that no one thought was even possible. From swampy grounds in the south of Sweden up to the Arctic Circle, both winter and summertime, we drove everywhere. Of course we got stuck as well. That was part of the plan, to find the limits. How far can we go before it actually gets stuck? Where is the the limits of this tank, but it was very impressive and it did a lot better than actually thought it would be. The power pack at the rear is a combined engine and gearbox, a 12-cylinder diesel engine from MTU, Germany, 46.2 liters, 1500 horsepower, and that combined with a Renk automatic gearbox. It's a fantastic power pack. Not that much fuel consumption. We did during the tests down to approximately 20-25 liters per 10 kilometers on road, which is quite good. Of course, if you go into very hard terrain, soft ground, etc., the fuel consumption goes up, but it never went that far as it did on the old Centurions. It has more than 1,000 liters of fuel inside, normal diesel fuel, and the power pack is possible to remove and change very quickly. So you can change the power pack if you have something broken in the engine or gearbox. So in less than 30 minutes you can remove it and put it back again, and then the tank is ready to go into action. And I've seen a power pack lift from the tank stops until it moves again. The power pack was lifted out, put down on the ground, and then put back again in 9 minutes. So that's very fast and easy to do, even out in the field. You use some sort of a crane. The power pack is 6,500 kilos, so you need to have a bit bigger crane, but it's very easy to do it. So that's the power pack, the MTU V12 engine.